Good evening and welcome to Futbol En Vivo on Club Deportes Season 2, Episode 1, Season Preview Edition. Be sure to follow Club Deportes on Twitter at Club Deportes. Follow Futbol En Vivo at Futbol Austin. For all the latest and greatest sports news and commentary, you know you have to go to clubdeportes.com. I am your host, Eric McCoy, and I am joined by a man who has already nominated Josh Wolf as MLS Coach of the Year for 2023. It's David Alvarez.
How do you know that my Oscar was going to Argentina in 1985? Argentina 1985 is the Oscar.
We're talking about your MLS Coach of the Year nomination, David. This is a football show. It's not a movie show.
Wait and see. Wait and see. Few games. Give it 6 games like last year. Remember?
Okay, that's a little hard for coach that made the Western Conference Final last year, but we know you're a strict man.
After the 6th game, we talk about it.
He made it.
We talk about it.
All right, I am also joined by a man who says this. This will be the year that Rodney Redes finally scores an MLS goal. It's Jorge Chavez.
Absolutely. I have full confidence in the young man. He's going to turn the corner. Yes.
Okay, we're going to hold you to that.
I don't know if he's going to score much more than that one goal, but he'll probably get it.
So we're setting the over-under at 1, and he's going to reach it. He's going
yes,
to 1.
I'm confident in that, yes.
Okay. Low bar to clear, but hey.
Hey, yes, absolutely.
All right, usually I would ask you guys how you're doing at this point in the show. I know how you're doing. You're excited. I'm excited. Everyone's excited. We are just days away from the start of the 2023 MLS season. Jorge, let's start with you.
Sure.
What are you most looking forward to about Austin FC's 2023 season?
I'm pretty excited about the baby announcements that are going to be coming up for the. I'm kidding.
Okay. Well, a lot of people were.
I do want to mention that
I know David was.
The Austin FC fans are crazy. They are nuts invested in this team. That we saw the tweet by Diego Fagundes' father that there's going to be some news, family news. Collectively, Austin FC fans lost their minds.
Speculation
that he's going to leave. That oh my God, that they're going to sign him. That what's going to happen? And it was just an announcement that he's got a new kid in the works. But there was an announcement this morning that they are signing Diego Fagundes to an extension to 2026. So that's going to be they now have their probably 2 best players signed long term. So that's going to help tremendously in the stabilization of the team. So that's going to be an interesting how the rest of the team reacts to that stability. So it's going to be exciting.
Absolutely. I know, David, you said you wanted to specifically speak on the new Diego Fagundes signing before we started recording. So you want to go ahead and share your thoughts on that? I know you're really excited.
I think it's the best news I ever heard. I think it's really good to have that Fagundes signing because he's really, part of the heart of the team. That's Fagundes has been here from the beginning, scored the first goal.
Yeah.
And it's just such a legend for this team. And then when we had Driussi becoming a real legend of a higher proportion, with the best 2 players that the team have. I mean, it's the main thing to have. It's just it couldn't be better news. I mean, I'm very happy about Fagundes. About the Fagundes news. I mean, that's the other thing. I mean, this is good for him. And I mean, everything. If it's good for him, it's good for the team.
So what are you most looking forward to this season, David?
But I'm looking for consistency, pretty much. I'm looking how the team is going to deal with all the drama that went around the Reyna, the general manager.
Okay, I mean, do you want to get into that now? I had that saved for later in the show, but do you want to maybe address the Claudio Reyna-sized elephant in the room?
Considering that happened pretty much just as the season finished, and that was really the first Austin FC news of the offseason. That's probably a good place to start.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and get into it then. I mean, for anyone who's been living under a rock, Claudio Reyna out as sporting director for Austin FC as a result of, I guess there was some, was it him, was it his wife? But basically, someone in the Reyna family went to U.S. Soccer Federation with a story about a domestic violence situation between U.S. men's national team head coach Greg Berhalter and his wife. That situation occurred back in 1991, so a very long time ago. This was before Berhalter and his wife were actually married. They were just dating, and since Berhalter went to counseling, they had 4 kids together, got married. So this is probably not the best thing to be bringing up, specifically when you're bringing it up because you're not happy about your son's lack of playing time in the World Cup. But that's basically the story there. Anyone have anything else to add as far as the background of this situation?
Well, I mean, obviously it's got a big implications for U.S. soccer and the fans and really the men's national team, but it doesn't really have much bearing on Austin FC. So that's probably a different conversation that we can have. But that really brought this decision for Claudio Reyna to leave the team. He's a technical advisor.
Yeah, he's still sticking around on the team as an advisory role. Yeah. For me, I'll just go ahead and say I think you should just cut ties with them altogether. I think this was frankly just embarrassing the way the situation was handled. With I don't know if it was him or his wife. And to me, okay, we're on Club Deportes, the land of the controversial right here.
Yeah,
but it seemed a little too convenient that after the story broke, it went from being Reyna that had potentially said this, and now all of a sudden it's his wife that is who went to U.S. soccer. It feels very much like his wife acting as scapegoat in this situation for the sake of Claudio Reyna's future employment prospects. That's kind of how I read between the lines there. So for me, frankly, I don't think Claudio Reyna was very good as a sporting director for Austin FC. You can look at the DP signings that Austin FC have swung and missed on. The U22 signings, I mean, you're talking Musa Jite out on loan. Rodney Redes hasn't scored a goal. Jan Kolmanic, maybe your 3rd choice left back coming into this upcoming season. So big time roster spots that he just took a huge swing and miss on. So for me, I say just get rid of him altogether. But where do you stand?
I wouldn't be as harsh. I mean, he did sign.
I'm taking after David, Jorge.
He did sign Driussi. He did sign Fagundes. He did sign Ring, even though a lot of the fan base and some of the media don't like him. But I think he's a stabilizing force.
Ring is.
So if you think about it, they've pretty much been consistent with probably 60-70% of their roster from the first year. They're the same players. So, if that depth-wise, sure. The missing on the DPs, absolutely. We've been pretty critical about our thoughts on Pochettino and maybe there could have been a little bit more research on Dominguez, on Cecilio Dominguez. Could have been
very fair to say.
Due diligence on that. And there's some missteps here and there. But, I think that's just the general manager position in any soccer team. You have hits, you have misses. And he certainly had hits and misses, but it's just the confidence in the team. The confidence in how in what the other your employees, your players, on how can you express something that personal for your own personal benefit. I said from the beginning, for those that don't know, there's a private group for all the Austin FC media, and I said right when the news broke, I said he's gone, he's going to resign. And some people said, it'll blow over. I mean, it's not that serious. And I was right. He's no longer here because you have to instill confidence and professionalism in such a high position, and he just failed at it this time. He let personal feelings affect his professional life, and this is the result.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you can't overlook here Josh Wolf, longtime assistant for Greg Berhalter, contemporaries of Berhalter and Reyna with the USMNT back in the 90s, early 2000s.
Right.
So very well connected to Berhalter, and so I just can't imagine having Reyna around. is ideal, considering that connection there. David, you have seen the light.
I think I've seen the light.
So we want to get your thoughts on.
It was getting dark out there. Anyway,
No kidding.
That's what happened. We're almost 7 o'clock right now, so it does get dark.
Getting dark, so I have to get in. Hey, but talking
What
about the Reyna.
Claudio Reyna, what do you think, David? What's your take?
I mean, I think it's a very important situation because how a team can deal with the situation of not having the general manager that you have for about 2 years, right? And not having it, and like I think in Futbol En Vivo, I mean, through the Deportes, there was a show about all the waste of money that entail to have as a general manager. So that's we start from that, but then the situations, how we can deal with it. I mean, it's going to be still part of the team. It's still part of the community.
Do you think they should just cut ties with them altogether? Are you with me in this?
Altogether, because he's still in a basis of advising for the team, which I don't think what kind of advice he can give us anymore. I mean, besides not liking soccer moms. But other than that,
you probably have some experience about that, right, David?
Yeah, soccer moms is a real problem in football in America. That's the number one. And this
those are the words of David Alvarez, not necessarily Futbol En Vivo.
I mean, I live it as a coach. I've been a coach for 10 years here in the city. High school. And the biggest problem that we have as a teacher, and it's actually the soccer class, especially like in schools where most of the kids go to club soccer, which was the case with Reyna. Right, Reyna, they grew up together. All of them went to club soccer, so it is the typical mentality of soccer moms. That the only thing they don't go to school, they don't work, they don't do anything. The only thing worry about the kids and live vicariously to them. And this is the best example of it. And it happened all over the country. It's the best example. Like you have a coach that he's not a U.S. coach because of it. Now it's suspended. He's suspended. What is the basis of that suspension?
Yeah. Well, not suspension, but he hasn't been re-signed, and he won't be re-signed. There's no way Berhalter can come back. Ernie Stewart is gone. Brian McBride is gone, and those two guys were probably.
That's a generational thing. I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I just have a problem with the fact that a coach, has to be. I mean, he could have made the fault that he said that who he was after in the conference, but it was his fault. But it should not be. It should not be an issue right now. I think it's not good for anybody, and it's setting a bad example how to deal with situations like this when the mom doesn't like the kid, doesn't like that his kid is not playing.
Right? You making some strong points there, David. I would just like to throw out maybe a hashtag right here. Hashtag not all soccer moms. There's some bad apples out there, but plenty of wonderful soccer moms and dads.
Yeah, and to bring it back to more locally too.
I'm sorry for the generalization. I have so much experience
I'm sure
very close right now with the same situation with false accusations that really kind of ruin careers, right?
And that brings it first looker to what I was saying before, that when you have basically the president of the person that makes the decisions on personnel and players to be put in that position, it's just not a tenable situation for Austin FC. It's just going to be a distraction, and I think Sean Rubio, who was named the interim soccer director of operations, I think he's done a fine job. I mean, under his leadership, really, we got the two best players or more influential players to re-sign for Austin FC. So he's done a good job. he got Zardes in here.
That's what we're going to be talking about. Really?
Let's go ahead, right? Let's go ahead and transition to the actual on the field stuff. That's our bread and butter right here.
Yes.
So I have let's start here. What are you most excited about as far as this Austin FC team is concerned? As far as on the field, where do you think Austin FC's biggest strength is as a team heading into this 2023 season? We'll start with you, Jorge.
Oh, midfield, absolutely. I mean, we have Driussi, the probably in a lot of regions, probably the MVP of the league last season. But you know, goals and assists took Hani Mukhtar ahead of him for that. But he's a very very important player for Austin FC. I
So a
mean,
lot of people,
yeah,
I'll
go ahead.
just say real quick here on Driussi. The word regression has been thrown around a lot
Yes, yeah,
about Driussi. That I don't know if you're an expected goals guy, Jorge, but he did have a little bit of overperformance
right.
on his expected goals last season. So are you concerned? I mean, he had 22 goals last year. Are you concerned that he might take a step back?
I would look at it this way. Regression is depends on your perspective. If you see a Driussi that suddenly has 18 goals, 17 goals this season, but his play influences guys like Zardes, who instead of producing the 8 or 9 goals that an Urruti would do, gives us 15, 16 goals. Is that really regression? No. He helped produce that, eased the pressure off of the front three guys, especially the striker, which let's be honest, in the type of formation that or the style of play that Josh Wolf has, the striker position is very, very important. And they definitely got an upgrade by getting Zardes in there.
They have never had a striker this good.
No.
Zardes, I think, as much as I love Maxi, Zardes
Right.
is a clear upgrade.
So I would posit this, that I think Driussi would gladly turn in an MVP, any MVP considerations to having more goals scored by the front three for the guys that are in front of him.
I think you're 100% right. I think you might see a bit of. I don't know if he's going to score 22 goals this season. I think he's going to score at least 15, and I think Zardes will probably score at least. I mean, what? Already had 9 last season.
Already had 9.
I think Zardes can at least give you 13, 14, maybe even 15 goals.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there you go. That makes up for any regression from.
But I think the key to all of this is going to be Rigoni, Emiliano Rigoni. How he has gelled with the team in the offseason, because let's be honest, he did not gel very well for the 4 or 5 games that he played at the end of the last season.
Understatement of our young season.
Yeah, so it's a lot of expectations for him this season as a DP. Maybe he could have gotten a pass last year because new team, he didn't know the guys very well. They don't know him very well. They don't know the spacing, the progress, all that kind of stuff. But they have a full preseason. He stayed here in Austin, if I'm not mistaken, to work with these guys. And so, he sounds like he's committed to this team. We'll just see how it transpires, because if he is able to perform at a DP level, man, Driussi has nothing to worry about anymore. He could care less about regression.
Your thoughts on Emiliano Rigoni?
My thoughts on Emiliano Rigoni are very much alike Jorge's. I think he is a player that had the chances to show last year something, and he didn't show anything really.
He didn't, yeah.
0 goals, 0 assists.
In the key moments, in the playoff moments, he only had 1 penalty, lucky penalty. That's all he had.
He did score in the shootout against RSL.
That's the only thing I can say. Remember
missed some
that
very big chances in that match.
But there were so many times that the people were asking him to be out of. I mean, there was some place he should not be playing. He should have not been playing in the playoffs, honestly. So for me, it's just.
No, I agree. He should not have started that early.
He shouldn't have started. I agree. He shouldn't have started. But played maybe in the 75th minute.
He never really got it. He never got into the team.
He never
got the confidence. He always lacked the confidence to be on the team. He never felt comfortable.
On the soccer field.
I would certainly agree. But going forward, do you think there's reason for optimism regarding Rigoni?
Well, depends how much yerba mate he drinks, because
okay, we got to get him on mate con.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, because he needs to wake up, because he needs to be part of the team. He needs to be a leader.
Okay, here's a couple things though. I was looking at some numbers on Rigoni, and it's a little alarming when you really dig into his career numbers. Okay, last season from the right wing, Ethan Finley combined 10 goals and assists. He had 5 goals, 5 assists. Rigoni in his career has only once ever put up a season where he had combined 10 goals and assists. And that was in 16-17 with
Why did you dig that up, Eric?
I mean, that's not good. And here's the other thing.
It's not good, no.
Rigoni's 30. This is not like a young prospect that's going to be improving. I mean, Driussi was 25 when he got to Austin FC, so he was still like in his prime, potentially even getting better as he arrives at Austin FC. Rigoni's only going to get worse. No one other than maybe Lionel Messi gets better after the age of 30. Everyone declines.
That's true.
I can tell you from awful things happen to the human body after the age of 30.
Come on.
Well, you did that. I don't think I'm going to just go out on a limb and say Rigoni probably not as good as those two. Probably not. No, I think Rigoni could be decent for Austin FC this year. But I do think as a DP, I just think this is a bad signing. Quite frankly, I just don't see him putting up big numbers.
I would prefer a different DP, to be honest. But again, I mean, we are very limited to the type of things that we saw. He did have that one good year with Sao Paulo previously. Then he regressed a little bit.
But in Sao Paulo, he ended up being on the bench. I mean, people really like him.
He ended up on the bench,
But he ended up on the bench, so he's not somebody that.
The other thing, I think, honestly, MLS, I think there used to be this perception that guys would come in from other leagues and MLS would be just this massive step down. And so if you're coming from another league, you could dominate.
Absolutely.
I think other than maybe the top 5 leagues in Europe, like if you're coming from South America or you're coming from Portugal or one of the lesser European leagues, I don't think MLS is really a step down. MLS is a solid top 10-ish league in the world at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I think in the top 7, the MLS should be in the top 7.
I would agree. Yeah.
Above the Liga MX.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
I don't know if I go quite that far, but it's close. It's close.
Hey, that shows in the numbers for the CONCACAF Champions League. That should tell you that the
most recent. I agree. Yeah, I would agree with that. And the thing is, I mean, I remember when Atlanta United signed Pity Martinez. He was a reigning
South American Player of the Year.
South American Player of the Year. So you figured, he's going to clean everything up. He was awful for Atlanta United.
He was
just awful, and he just didn't. I think that's the problem with Pochettino as well. That he thought he was just going to come in here and sweep the floor, and he was awful. I don't even know where he's at. I have no idea where he's at.
Honestly, I don't know either. I did a whole big season preview that I did for my blog. Check it out if you follow us on Twitter.
Yes,
and Facebook.
please.
Posted it there, but I couldn't really find a whole lot of updates on what is going on with Pochettino.
Disappeared, and so and that speaks volumes to what really the league really is. It's underrated, and like David said, absolutely. I would definitely say it's top 7.
Yeah, definitely.
I think I saw a stat during the World Cup, and it was outside of the top 5 European leagues, MLS had the most representatives of any other league at the World Cup outside of the top 5 European leagues. So
they have a lot of guys in the men's national team, the U.S. men's national team. But yeah, it's still.
There's so many American players playing in the Premier League, which is unheard of. What?
A lot of guys. Yep.
In the Premier League, that never happened.
Leeds United, David. You still gotta fly that Leeds flag high, don't you?
Yes.
Okay, now let's. I think we're all a little concerned, skeptical about the kind of season Rigoni is going to have. Here's another area that I'm a little worried about, and that's central defense, the center back situation at Austin FC. I think if things go wrong, I think this is an area where that could be the cause of that. How are you guys feeling? We'll start with you, Jorge, about Austin FC's center back.
Obviously, the loss of Gabrielson was big loss. I think,
and not just on the field. I think off the field,
he was a leader. He was a leader on that team. He brought levity to the team. Great interview guy. I mean, he told you what he felt, and he's just a great guy all around.
It was a little intimidating asking Gabrielson a question.
A little bit,
he
sure.
He'd let you know if he didn't like the question.
Yeah, he was straight. He was straight with you, but he was very media accessible, and you know it's kind of rare to find that. But apart from that, on the field, he was very good. Not as fast maybe as probably could have helped, but he was a leader in the back line, and now that they lost him to be replaced by Bjorn Varsinen, I honestly, I'll be honest, I did not know very much about him. I still don't know very much about him.
Same.
But the coaches seem to be very high on him, the players as well. He, from the couple of highlights that I have seen, he is faster than Gabrielson, so he's going to be able to help with that. He's a pretty tall guy. I think he's 6'2", if I'm not mistaken. So he's going to be a presence there. So if he is like Gabrielson but just a little bit faster, I'm not as concerned. What I am concerned is the amount of tournaments that are going to be added to this season.
For competitions, right?
The success of Austin FC last season got him an extra slot in a tournament, and so it's the wear and tear of the guys back there. So this is where guys like our the number 1 pick last year, Kip Keller, guys like that are going to have to step up.
Well, here's the thing. So you have Vaisinen, and how he's going to replace Gabrielson. That's a big question mark.
That's a big question.
Seems like he could do all right, but yeah, it's still a question mark. And it's Cascante alongside of him. Up and down season last year for Cascante. I think it's fair to say. There's a video if you want to watch it. It's not hard to find.
There were big highs and big lows.
Absolutely. And then even after those two, though, it's Kip Keller. It's Amro Tarek, who just recently signed. Came from the Egyptian League, did play with New York Red Bulls for the 3 seasons prior to last, but wasn't a regular starter. I think there's a lot of question marks there. Keller, I think, was promising in moments last season, but still looks extremely raw.
He's really
I don't know,
raw.
Like if an injury happened to one of those first two, I don't know how I'd feel about Keller getting significant minutes. I wouldn't feel too comfortable there. David, are you worried about the center back situation here at Austin FC?
I mean, yeah, of course I am. I mean, I have to be. Yeah, the center back, for me, has to be somebody that has to be faster. It needs to be way faster than
bigger.
I think, that is key. I also think that one of the things, like especially in the first match, I want to see how comfortable Vaisinen is with playing out from the back, like receiving passes, his distribution. I think that'll be really important as well, because we know how critical that is to Josh Wolf's system.
Yeah, because honestly, last year, like most of the time when the other team just played one-on-one on Cascante and Gabrielson, I mean, their guys were too slow. Like any fast team can break those guys in a second. So we never had really a fast defender. So the key is more also who's going to be in the center back. Where's going to be Alex Ring playing?
That is an interesting question. I think he'll be in that kind of attacking midfield role that we saw him in last season. That would be my assumption. Also, actually, one of the key off-season signings I think has gone somewhat under the radar, but Soufiane Dufal, that they picked up from United, I think is a really good French kid. Yeah, but a lot of people are really high on him. I think he's a pure defensive midfielder. Yes. And so I think, to me, that shows, because you have him, you have Valencia, you still have Danny Pereira, but to me that shows a commitment on Alex Ring's continuing to play further up the field.
Yeah, and really,
but the key is who's going to be what's going to be a starting lineup, right? So we can say, hey, the defender, center back is going to be Daniel's play, but it depends on who's around them, because when it's center back has limitations, that's what you have the rest of the team.
Right.
True. It's not all about defending. You defend as a team, attack as a team. It's not all about just the center backs as it pertains to defending.
Right.
We are, I think, starting to get a little short on time here. I want to get some predictions. I want to get what place do you think Austin FC is going to finish in this season? Now, if you remember last season's show, we all had Austin FC out of the playoffs, not making the playoffs.
I had them making.
You did. Okay, you don't. I'm sorry.
I'm
sorry. It's only
6th or 7th, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, I didn't have them making the playoffs. I know you didn't, David. I know you didn't. But
I didn't. But if you ask me after I watched the 6 games, I did tell you. I told you that I believe it.
Yeah,
I
the
believe
whole
in God's
point
will.
of preseason predictions, David, is they happen before the season actually
Yes,
starts.
you don't get to change your
You
mind.
cannot
Yeah.
do it for 6. I mean, if you need to have some sort of sources, to make the prediction, because
That's
you
true.
cannot make the prediction in the air. Like, we don't know how this guy's gonna be dealing with San Luis this Saturday. I mean, we cannot read that, but after a few games, yeah, we're gonna get a pretty good idea, so that I can make my predictions then.
Okay, but
Okay.
but
All
now,
right.
we're asking you now, though. And then
Now
you
we're
can,
not making
change it,
playoffs.
whatever.
No,
You want
no,
to
no, 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 no,
refuse
no.
to
Really?
make a
You're not making the
prediction.
playoffs?
Wow.
Wow.
Not
Wait,
right now.
not
We're
ma-
not making playoffs. Uh-uh.
You don't think Astros are
Wow.
going to make the playoffs?
Well, right now, as I don't see the game, I don't see the play. I have to see the guys first to get an idea. I cannot just. Hey guys, remember
What?
I did the
Feel free to
MLS.
comment.
You're gonna
Hey,
you're
I
gonna
did
end
the
up
MLS.
you're gonna end up on a laminated sheet somewhere, David. I'm just telling you.
Guys,
Nor were they even
I
expanded
did
the
the
playoffs.
World Cup. I guess the World Cup winner, which was not that hard, and also I guess the
All right.
MLS winner, but during the playoff already, right? So, but that's why I need to make sure my guess is right. I cannot just.
So you want a 5 or 6 game advance to see if they're gonna make the playoffs.
Yeah.
All right.
Exactly.
I guess
Okay,
I guess we could talk. I guess we could talk after the 5th game.
Okay, but I'm just gonna. We're not asking her to go out on too much of a limb here, David. There are 14 teams in the Western Conference. 9 of them, 9 are going to make the postseason with the new format. Is really not. You're not going out on a limb too much to say they're going to make the playoffs.
Okay.
I'm just
Just because of the fan, we're gonna make it. There's no doubt about
All
it.
right.
Just because Austin is Austin, not because of the team how it is, but because Austin is Austin. We're gonna make a playoff for sure. About winning it,
Astute
that's a different
analysis
thing.
there. Love it.
It's a different thing. But we're
All right.
making the playoff, no doubt about it. Yeah, it's no doubt.
Where are you at, Jorge? I'm kind of looking for a specific place in the standings. It was
Second place.
Kind of what I was going for. Okay, good. It
Second
took
place.
You 2 seconds. It took David.
It'll be
2
second
minutes
place.
to get a number.
I don't know if it's going to be the exact same situation. I think they're not going to. I don't think they're going to have a strong start as they did last year. I don't foresee a 5-1 and a 5-0 game for the next couple of games. I think maybe Cincinnati because they're new.
St. Louis.
St. Louis.
I'm sorry, St. Louis. I talked to Arch Bell over the weekend and our friend of the show, Jorge Duralde. We have no idea who some of these players are. So there's one guy, Aaron Strout, Adam Strout that used to be
Jared
Austin. Jared Strout. See, I can't even remember his name. Jared Strout.
Not a good sign. Not a good sign for Stroud.
Was with the team last year, and he's there now. There's a couple of guys that were prospects for the men's national team.
You do have Roman Berkey, actually, former
Roman
Dortmund,
Berkey.
Goalkeeper.
He's there, but other than that, I mean, we couldn't even find pictures of these guys. So who knows? So I do not foresee a good game for St. Louis the first time around. But for the rest of the team, I think it'll be a dogfight. I mean, it'll be. We know that Seattle Sounders are going to be there again. They had an off season last year. A lot of injuries, but I think they'll be more committed this year. Portland as well. So it's going to be a much tougher situation. But I think the addition of Zardes is going to be a little bit underrated.
Oh, it's huge. I think it's one of the best moves in MLS this offseason.
I believe so as well.
I think it's a really good move. I think 4th for Austin FC this season. I think they'll take a slight step back. I think the additional competitions. I mean, last season, they played their 34 MLS regular season matches and then just one additional match outside of that in the regular season. Just one U.S. Open Cup game. So the CONCACAF Champions League, the Leagues Cup is going to be a whole month-long thing. I think they're like in midfield. I think this team's really deep. Striker really deep. Fullbacks, a lot of fullbacks, but center back situation really worries me.
Really
and I think that could be. You could start seeing this team leaking goals.
One
thing he needs to be ready because I think he's going to have a lot of work.
One thing I did find interesting. I attended a couple of the preseason games as part of the media, and I saw Gallagher. He's converted to defense last season, and he played in the left wing. He played right wing this time around, and I think Josh Wolf is going to use him kind of as a utility player. So I foresee seeing Gallagher spend some time in center back when needed.
At center back, really?
Yeah, I foresee that happening.
Wow.
Well,
But
I mean, it definitely will give him more speed to the center back. I mean,
definitely,
that's what we need.
That would be interesting. I mean, it is interesting that they signed Lundqvist from Houston, a left back. So you have 3 left backs currently on the team, which seems excessive. And plus, Hector Jimenez can play also on either.
And Lima's still strong as ever. So, like I said, I think they obviously with in the preseason you try stuff. See how this guy plays here. See how that guy plays there. And in other positions, you just solidify the position. Like Rigoni, he did not play any other position other than right wing. That's Fagundes stayed at left wing. So the guys are going to be there throughout the season. They're installed there. But other guys, like I said, like Gallagher, they moved him around. They moved Ring around. They didn't even start Ring on some occasions, which is also interesting. So on some of the flexibility that Josh Wolf talked about, and we have talked about because of the extra tournaments that they're going to play. So it was some interesting observations in the preseason for sure.
That is. Okay, guys, I think we are just about out of time here. It's been fun. Season 2 on Club Deportes.
Yes.
Great way to start it. And hey, we're going to be doing this again next week, recapping that first match against St. Louis City. It's been fun, guys. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Gracias. Go Austin FC.